This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
It is always more fun to talk up a Monday Night Football game when I am way off market on the total, because it means that I can actually feel okay about banking on some overs, seeing some value and some touchdown props, and that is exactly what we get for tonight between the Commanders and the Chiefs. I think the total is a bit too low, and as a result, not only do I want the over, but also there are a pair of touchdown props that I feel pretty good about for tonight. We're going to dive in this Commanders at Chiefs matchup, break down why I'm on the over for tonight, talk about a player prop that I'm seeing value in, and break down those two touchdown props at FanDuel Sportsbook as well. Welcome on into Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, here to preview the Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, breaking down my best bets and player props for tonight's game. We'll dive into all that here in just 1 second, but first, a reminder to make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcast, with you Monday through Friday in the NFL and college football season, breaking down the NFL and college football every Wednesday, of course. Tomorrow, I will go through every NFL Week 9 game, break down my models, spread, and total predictions for this game to let you know my early week bets at FanDuel Sportsbook that I like. To get those as they're posted, make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. Subscribe there, turn on notifications, leave us a thumbs up on YouTube. We appreciate those of you checking us out on YouTube as always. FanDuel's getting you ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 to use in bonus bets all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. NFL season is finally here. Only question is, are you ready to play? Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-79-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's dig in now to the Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Right now at FanDuel Sportsbook, this total is sitting at 47.5, and the Chiefs are 11.5 point favorites. Of course, the big news here is no Jaden Daniels for the Commanders. Once again, Marcus Mariota will start in his place. Actually, the site of one of the coolest plays of Marcus Mariota's career. He threw a touchdown pass to himself when he was with the Titans in the playoffs, off a Chiefs defender. He caught the ball, ran it for a touchdown. Best day in DFS history, I would say, for Marcus Mariota in that playoff game. But either way, he does have a full complement of studs available to him for tonight, because both Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin will play in this game. In part because I am excited about the return of both McLaurin and Samuel, I do think there is value in the over as things stand. As mentioned, total right now 47.5. I have this total in the 50s, and it's not 50, I would say, because it's mostly because of the Chiefs, frankly, because this Commanders defense is not great by any means. But I do think the Commanders will be able to pull their own weight in this as well, because Mariota has been efficient both last year and this year when he's had some players to throw to. Last week, when he came on in relief of Jaden Daniels, did not play that well, but that was without Samuel, without McLaurin, who both practiced in full throughout this entire week. So they get those two guys back, a full week to prepare for Mariota starting, and frankly, this Chiefs defense hasn't been that good so far this year. So, yes, the reason I like the over is because I like the Chiefs. I got them favored by 12 in this game, so I think the market is correct. So it's mostly because of the Chiefs offense. Their team total is 30.5 over at -104, pretty high number. And I'd rather have a route where the Commanders, maybe they score 20 and it's 30-20 kind of game. We hit the over then in that scenario. So to me, rather than taking the Chiefs team total over, I do want to take the full game total over because I do think the Commanders will do something offensively with Samuel McLaurin back. And that to me says we can take this full game over 47.5 -115 and feel like we're in a pretty good spot for this one. There will also be a trickle down effect of my liking the over in this game when we talk about the touchdown props later on. Before that, though, want to stick more on Marcus Mariota and talk about him in this game because my favorite player prop of the night is going to be revolving around Mariota. Now, it's not the passing, despite the fact that both Samuel and McLaurin are back. I want to go with Mariota's rushing prop. That is a 28.5 at FanDuel Sportsbook, over sitting at -114. Now, Mariota's played in 3 games this year, and he has actually gone over this number in 2 of those 3 games, despite the fact he did not start one of those games. He only had 20 in one of his starts, but overall, the rushing production has been there for Mariota. He'll also likely be in a negative game script here. And a negative game script means more dropbacks, which means more chances at scrambles, which is a key piece of this game because the Chiefs are letting up a lot of rushing production to quarterbacks. Even guys who aren't typically big runners have had big weeks against the Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence in that Monday Night Football game, remember he had 50 or whatever it was yards. He had 3 explosive runs against this team in that game. Justin Herbert had a pretty good game back in week 1. Russell Wilson in his final game as starter had 5 for 27 against them. When you look at the Chiefs defense this year and you adjust for opponent, they have faced the highest scramble rate in the league among any team. And the Washington Commanders have the highest scramble rate of any team in the entire NFL. So we're probably going to see a lot of scrambles out of Mariota. He's been effective in those scrambles so far this year. And that's not even discussing what I would assume would be some design runs for Washington in this game as well. So it's a good matchup for Mariota in that regard. He's been willing to run this year. He's been effective, and it's a very negative game script where he may be forced to drop back a bunch. That to me says I'm going to expect a lot of rushing volume from Mariota, and as a result, very willing to take over 28.5 rushing yards, sitting at -114 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, of all the baseline player props, that is my favorite for tonight's game. Because I like the over, I do feel good about a couple of touchdown bets. So let's talk about those and begin with the one that's more, I would say, normal, and that's going to be on Isaiah Pacheco. I think we're in a good buy low spot in Pacheco, who has seen his touchdown prop lengthen throughout the week. Typically, it goes the other way. With Pacheco, though, he was around +150 on Friday. He is now to 2-1 to score a touchdown here. And I think a big part of that is potentially an overreaction to Brashard Smith and what he did last week, because Smith is down to +260. That could mean that someone knows that Brashard Smith will get an expanded role for tonight. I kind of feel like it's more because of what Smith did in the fourth quarter last week. And frankly, most of his work did come in the fourth quarter after Patrick Mahomes was out of that game. If you look at the first 3 quarters of the Chiefs against the Ravens last week, Pacheco still had a 61% snap rate with Brashard Smith at 24%. And that 24% came with Kareem Hunt getting banged up pretty early in that game. Now, Hunt will play in this game full in practice on Saturday off the injury report. So he's good to go. But Pacheco played a 77% snap rate the week before that as well. And honestly, he's been playing okay recently, at least as a rusher. So I don't see any massive reason to give Pacheco the squeeze here as being the primary early down guy for this team. Again, his snap rate had been going up before the blowout last week and still was 61% across the first 3 quarters there. Now, Pacheco has just 2 touchdowns so far this year, but scoring expectations are very, very high in this game. And again, his role has been expanding a bit down the stretch. I'm willing to ride with that kind of setup in this scenario at a pretty long number for Pacheco. I have the fair odds for Pacheco to score at +150. And again, we're getting him at 2-1. Maybe that means I'm off. Maybe I'm underselling a potential Brashard Smith role expansion here. Maybe I'm underselling Kareem Hunt's red zone role or Mahomes' role in the red zone, all the weird stuff the Chiefs do down there. Either way, I do still think 2-1 is a very nice number to get Pacheco at, so I will take him there as our first anytime touchdown bet for tonight. Taking Isaiah Pacheco 2-1 to score between the Chiefs and the Commanders. The other touchdown prop that I like is a lot longer and potentially a lot less fun if you are not looking to be frustrated for tonight. I'm going to take Jeremy McNichols to score in this game. McNichols, part of a 3 running back rotation for the Washington Commanders. And as a result, he is 10-1 to score for tonight. He's remained very involved, even with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt getting more work for the Commanders recently. McNichols has played roughly 33% of the snaps, even with the Bill role expansion, and he's getting a lot of work in the passing game. He's looked decent in that work too. He has 23 and 30 receiving yards the past 2 weeks, and he's looked okay. Again, this is also a potentially super negative game script, and if they do fall behind, it's more likely to be McNichols who is in that game rather than Bill. So the snap count for McNichols, typically 33%. I would not be shocked if it flirts with 40% for tonight. And again, he's getting work in the passing game, look good doing it. So maybe that does help him as well. I'm not super high on McNichols. I think that my projection on him is pretty conservative, but still showing really good value on him to score in this game. If you look at players projected for a similar number of scrimmage touchdowns as McNichols in my model, they have scored in 15.6% of their games, which is about plus 540 as fair value for McNichols. And he's, again, at 10-1. Now, part of this is because I do like the over in this game, so maybe that's overly influencing things here, but I am willing to go here even with that caveat. So Pacheco, the more baseline touchdown prop for tonight at 2-1. If you want more of a fun one, a longer shot, McNichols to me is a guy to go with at 10-1. Because again, should be in a negative game state. He is out there when they are trailing. He gets past game in the pass or gets work in the passing game. Chiefs defense, not one that I'm super afraid of. And I do think the Commanders will move the ball here. That could add up to make McNichols a quality option here. So my 4 bets for the Chiefs of the Commanders are McNichols to score 10-1, Isaiah Pacheco to score 2-1, Marcus Mariota over 20.5 rushing yards at minus 114, and taking the full game over 47.5, that is at minus 115 at FanDuel Sportsbook. That is all that we have here for today on Covering the Spread. Again, should be a fun game for tonight. Back again tomorrow. Going to break down every NFL Week 9 game, going through spreads and totals of FanDuel Sportsbook, breaking down my favorite bets for week number 9. To get that as it is posted, check out the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. Subscribe there and turn on notifications. Give us a thumbs up there, but also subscribe to the Covering the Spread podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. If you got any questions for me, I am on X and Blue Sky at JimSannes, on Threads at Jim.Sannes, and you can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work on the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you with your bets on Monday Night Football. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow to break down week 9. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.